This isn't just another war in the Middle East. It's a conflict that is quietly changing the balance of power in the world. For decades, the United States has been known as the most powerful military force on the planet. Its aircraft carriers dominate the oceans, its stealth bombers can strike anywhere, and its defense budget is larger than the next several countries combined. But in the growing confrontation with Iran, something unexpected is happening. The war is not unfolding the way many military experts once predicted. Instead of a quick victory or overwhelming dominance, the United States is facing a slow, complicated struggle that exposes the limits of modern military power. The question many analysts are now asking is simple but shocking. Why is the United States struggling in a conflict against a country with a much smaller economy and far fewer resources? The answer begins with one critical reality. Iran is not fighting the kind of war America prepared for. Traditional wars usually involve two armies clashing directly on the battlefield, tanks against tanks, jets against jets, and soldiers meeting in open combat. But Iran has spent decades studying how the United States fights and designing strategies specifically meant to avoid those strengths. Instead of matching American power directly, Iran focuses on asymmetric warfare. That means attacking weaknesses instead of confronting strength. Rather than sending large armies into open battle, Iran relies on missiles, drones, cyber attacks, and networks of allied groups across the region. These forces can strike quickly, disappear, and strike again somewhere else. This approach forces the United States to defend many targets at once. Instead of fighting in one location, the battlefield suddenly stretches across an entire region. Military bases, shipping lanes, oil infrastructure, and strategic allies all become potential targets. And protecting every one of those places is extremely difficult, even for a superpower. The second reason the conflict has become so complicated is geography. Iran is fighting close to home, while American forces are operating thousands of miles away from their own territory. That difference changes everything. Iran's supply lines are short and protected. Weapons, fuel, and reinforcements can move quickly within the region. The United States, however, must move resources across oceans, maintain distant bases, and rely on support from allied countries. Every aircraft carrier group, every missile defense system, and every military base must be supplied constantly. If those supply lines are disrupted, the entire military operation becomes more difficult to sustain, and Iran understands this perfectly. Over the years, it has built strategies designed specifically to target logistics, supply routes, and regional infrastructure rather than confronting American forces head on. Another major factor shaping this conflict is the importance of energy. The Middle East remains the center of global oil production, and one narrow waterway plays a crucial role in that system. The Strait of Hormuz is one of the most important shipping routes on Earth. Roughly one-fifth of the world's oil passes through this narrow corridor every single day. That means even the threat of disruption can send shock waves through global markets. Oil prices rise, shipping insurance costs skyrocket, and energy-dependent economies begin to feel the pressure almost immediately. Iran has repeatedly warned that if it faces a full-scale attack, it could disrupt shipping in this vital waterway. Whether through naval mines, missile strikes, or drone attacks, even temporary disruption would have massive consequences for the global economy. This creates a powerful strategic advantage because while the United States may dominate conventional military battles, Iran can still influence global economics simply by threatening critical trade routes. The result is a form of pressure that spreads far beyond the battlefield. Governments around the world begin to worry about energy shortages, inflation, and economic instability. That pressure can shape political decisions and limit how far any country is willing to escalate the conflict. The fourth reason the United States is facing difficulties is that Iran has spent decades preparing for exactly this scenario. Ever since tensions with Washington intensified in the late 20th century, Iranian military planners assumed that one day they might face American military action. Instead of trying to build a traditional military capable of defeating the United States in open battle, they focused on creating a layered defense system. Underground missile facilities were built deep inside mountains. Drone technology was expanded rapidly. Naval forces were trained to use small, fast boats capable of swarming much larger ships. But perhaps the most important element of Iran's strategy is its network of regional allies and partner groups. Across several Middle Eastern countries, there are armed organizations that share political and military connections with Tehran. In the event of a wider conflict, these groups can launch attacks against American bases, allied infrastructure, and strategic shipping routes. That means the United States is not dealing with a single battlefield or even a single opponent. Instead, it faces a network of forces spread across multiple countries. Each new front forces Washington to divide its attention and resources. Instead of concentrating power in one decisive strike, the military must constantly respond to threats appearing in different places at different times. The fifth factor complicating the conflict is the limitation of air power. The United States possesses some of the most advanced aircraft and precision weapons ever developed. Stealth bombers can strike targets thousands of kilometers away. Cruise missiles can destroy facilities with incredible accuracy. But modern warfare has shown that air power alone rarely wins wars. Bombing military sites can damage infrastructure, eliminate equipment, and disrupt operations. Yet it does not necessarily eliminate the political will or strategic networks that keep a conflict going. If missile launchers are hidden underground, if drones are produced in dispersed factories, and if regional groups can continue fighting independently, the conflict can persist even after major airstrikes. This creates a frustrating situation for military planners. Each strike may succeed tactically, destroying specific targets, but strategically, the overall situation may remain unchanged. The opponent adapts, moves assets, and continues operating in new ways. Over time, the cost of maintaining constant military pressure becomes enormous. Missile defense systems must intercept incoming rockets and drones. Aircraft carriers must remain deployed for long periods. Supply chains must deliver fuel, weapons, and spare parts across vast distances. Every day of sustained operations costs billions of dollars, and wars are not fought only with weapons. They are also fought with time, money, and political patience. Public opinion becomes another battlefield. When conflicts drag on without clear victory, citizens begin asking difficult questions. Why are we fighting? How long will this continue? What is the final objective? These questions influence elections, government policies, and international alliances. Leaders must balance military strategy with domestic political pressure. The longer a conflict lasts, the harder that balance becomes. This is one of the most important lessons from modern warfare. Winning battles does not automatically mean winning the war. Strategic endurance often matters more than tactical success. If one side can absorb damage, maintain alliances, and continue fighting longer than expected, it can gradually shift the balance of power. Iran's strategy appears designed around this principle. Instead of seeking immediate victory, it focuses on prolonging the conflict, raising costs, and forcing the United States into a complex regional struggle. Each drone launch, each missile strike, and each disruption of shipping lanes adds pressure to an already tense global environment. Meanwhile, the United States must carefully consider every response. Escalation could risk widening the war, drawing in more countries, and destabilizing the global economy. Restraint, however, may allow the opposing strategy to continue spreading pressure across the region. This strategic dilemma is why the conflict appears so complicated and unpredictable. It is not a simple contest of military strength. It is a multi-layered struggle involving economics, alliances, geography, and political endurance. The outcome will depend not only on weapons and battles, but also on who can sustain pressure longer and who can adapt faster to the changing nature of modern warfare. As tensions continue to rise, the world is watching closely. Energy markets react to every development. Governments monitor the stability of shipping routes and military bases. Analysts debate whether the conflict will remain limited or expand into something far larger. What is clear is that the war between the United States and Iran represents a new kind of confrontation. It demonstrates how smaller powers can challenge larger ones not by matching strength directly, but by exploiting vulnerabilities in a complex global system. And that may be the most important lesson of all. In modern warfare, victory is no longer determined only by who has the biggest military. It is determined by who understands the battlefield better, who controls the pressure points of the global economy, and who can endure the longest when the conflict refuses to end quickly.